Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So we're talking about you can't fix what you can't see. I'm Alexander Engelfried. I'm CEO and co-founder of FairFleet. FairFleet is a drone solution platform, and we offer any kinds of drone solutions in a global frame. And with me, I have Alex Charlesworth. He's the head of building consultancy in the UK and international partner at Cushman Wakefield. FairFleet and Cushman Wakefield work in a global framework contract since 2020, I believe. Very good. We are offering drone services from marketing to property inspection across the globe. And today we're going to speak about the experiences of Alex, how he introduced FairFleet drone services to his team and what the challenges are, and to give some insights. And I hope if you have any questions about how to roll out services like this, please ask them to Alex, because he will be very precise in his answers. And I think it's a great opportunity. First question: you're working in, you do property surveys, right? Why is visibility so important?
Thank you. So perhaps a bit of context. I'm a building surveyor. I run a team of about 90 building surveyors across the UK. And we're doing surveys from the UK across Europe as well. So for us, visibility, essentially looking and doing the surveys of the buildings that we're inspecting, is paramount. So visibility, you can't fix what you can't see. It says it on the tin, but that's literally, we need to be able to see the defects of insufficient quality to be able to analyse the repairs or the maintenance, or whatever that we're doing the survey for. So visibility is essential.
So I've prepared a video, if you could just show that real quick. That's how our platform works, and that's what Alex's team uses. So you can see here the defects that we have picked up with our software. Just a quick clip on the software. Typical findings in the UK, very poor roof conditions, I'd say. From your experience, how are drone inspections better, or how are they different to traditional methods, especially when you talk about visibility?
So I've been in the industry for a wee while. Historically, if you go back, we got hoists. I used to go up in hoists. You have the wind. I've been dive bombed by seagulls. I've even been stuck up a hoist, and they had to manually let it down. The hydraulics had seized, so not a great experience. Going back even further, I used to carry ladders around, sectional ladders on the tube, they used to fall apart. I used to have to lift them up to get to a higher roof, the bottom used to drop off. So it's fantastic that technology's come to the rescue now. So my team don't have to take the risks, the health and safety risks that I used to, although it was good fun. The cultural shift, I guess, is now using drones to do the work for us.
But so you're talking about cultural shift. When talking about cultural shift, like a lot of people probably maybe enjoy being out there attacked by seagulls. Being in the pouring rain, looking at roofs, there's been challenges for sure, right, in adopting the solution internally. What are like the main concerns when using drones, or in your team maybe? What's the feedback?
Well, I mentioned cultural shift. I mean, it is a cultural shift. We've been trained right from the outset that we need to be there physically to inspect, to see everything with our own eyes. And drones are an extension of our own eyes now. They're essentially seeing things in sufficient quality that we can now place trust in it. And I think, if you think of a hoist, it's a setup. You then go up. You then have to come down, move the hoist to a different location to be able to get up. It's limited by the oversail of the hoist. You sometimes can't get access to the back of roofs because of access issues. So now the drones are here. They're certainly bring a different dynamic to the way we operate. But 4 or 5 years ago, there was still this mental, cultural assessment that we need to have physical presence. We need to do the inspections ourselves. Quite a lot happened about 4 or 5 years ago. We used to use Nationwide, price point is an important point. So we're competing with the hoist companies. They shot themselves in the foot when they said, we're no longer doing half a day charge out rate, we're doing a full day charge out rate. So that helped you. They also had contracts that we sign up to that essentially assume that we're taking responsibility for the hoist, because we're contractors in their eyes. We're consultants in ours, but the contractors they had, contracts they had, essentially said you're taking responsibility. So the liability that we're taking on using a hoist is far different from the liability which you now have as a drone operator. You take that away from us. So it is a change. But it's the quality and consistency that drives everything, and the quality we now get from drones is second to none. And you watch the video, that dashboard is it's so important now for us selling to clients the added value that you get from your platform, that what you build.
Do you share the data with the clients as well?
Oh yeah, we could give them access to the reports. It's particularly important when you're doing a large portfolio. So when you've got access, you can literally go through the dashboard and it highlights the areas, the defects you get.
How does that help if they see all the problems they have on their buildings?
Well, I guess part of what we do, we have different inspections. So we use schedules of condition, documenting the evidence of the property in a particular point in time. Forward maintenance planning, so we're trying to predict where the defects are, so roof replacements or roof repairs. We have TDD, when you're buying and selling a building, we do the building inspections for that. And probably the more important one we currently use is building public risk assessments. So that is where buildings that we manage as a company, that we have liability for keeping in repair, if anything happens to the public, obviously the finger's going to be pointing our direction. So the building public risk assessments are looking at the buildings and looking particularly for any areas of defects that may fall off the building, or whether there's debris on the building that may fall off and hurt the public. So for us, it's paramount. Part of the management of the buildings, we use drones to protect the public effectively. So yes, the important point, going back to the original question, is we use these dashboards to identify where the defects are, so that facilities management can either clear the debris or get to the heart of the problem and repair the defect quickly.
Isn't it also, might it be a challenge for, if you survey a building over the years and then now all of a sudden you start using drones and we pick up way more defects than before, couldn't that also be a negative impact on using drones? Because we just find more maybe?
Well, I haven't heard that. I think it's a good thing if we're finding defects and putting them into repair. Certainly it's not a negative part. That's our job. And our job is to predict repairs. Of course, there are degrees of it, and if we are doing a full maintenance plan, it doesn't necessarily need fixing immediately. We categorize the defects, and it may be that year 2, year 3, we need to predict when that defect's going to fail, and we'll prepare for it. Stitch in time saves 9 and all that.
And have we ever found anything that was surprising or anything weird? I mean, we found dead pigeons, or I think we found millions of dead pigeons or seagulls on roofs already. We found shoes, brooms, petroleum gas, whatever it's called, all over the place.
I do remember footballs. Industrial estates, you always get footballs in the guttering for some reason, and they do block guttering. I suppose the kind of the flippant answer to that one, the fun one, is we found a ladder the other day. It was just sitting on the roof. I don't know how the person got down, but the ladder was just sitting on the roof. But we do things like slates, and they're perched in the guttering, ready to fall on the public down below. That's the kind of more serious findings. So yes, strange stuff, but also we clearly demonstrated that it's a really good thing we're doing by finding the defects.
So when you speak to your clients and you suggest them to use drones, are they always immediately convinced and say, perfect, let's use drones? Or are they concerned because of their tenants, for security reasons, data privacy. Is there any concerns? Have you ever crossed something like that?
Sometimes, yeah, and depending on the site and the kind of the perception. But I think now drones are now in everybody's psyche. And we go back 5 years ago, it was a different story trying to persuade clients that a drone is a good thing. I think nowadays it's accepted, and certainly the hoist we use, it will be because it's in a secure area or where drones can't operate, or the client particularly insistent. But most clients nowadays accept that the drones are better than the hoist. And I think that the cost point as well, so if you've got drones doing the job for you, and I don't necessarily need to be there. At the time of the inspection, I don't need to be there at the same time as the drone survey. That is a cultural shift. Before, I had to be up the hoist. So there is a cost point, it is a cost saving by having the drone operator effectively going to site and doing the job.
Cool. So what would be your wish in the future? What shall I develop for Cushman Wakefield building consultancy, if you could have an open wish?
I was going to ask you that question. I was going to say, what does the future hold and what have you got in store for us? I guess for us, it's developing the ability to synchronize your report, because FairFleet provide a report for us, and it's from that dashboard. It's got all the salient issues already identified, but it's not really in a format that we can extract and put it into our clients' templates. So it's getting that bit right. That'll save a whole bunch of time. It's enabling us to get into the dashboard and to do a RAG status. So we want to be able to click on a photograph and say, right, that's a red. That's important. We need to raise that at early concerns. If you've got a large area, we want to be able to zone the different roofs and call it by different names. If you think the practicalities of a drone going along the guttering may be 3 different zones, 3 different roofs, but the drone's actually going across it and all the photographs are all linked together. I want to be able to say, right, take all those and call that roof A, take all that and roof B. So that's something that hopefully we can work on in the future.
Good news for you. We're working on the last part, the zoning and splitting of sites.
It's like we discussed it before, isn't it?
We've heard their feedback, to be honest, and it's important to receive feedback from clients because only then we can work and improve our solution. So I think it's incredibly important to us that we get feedback and actually see how you use the data and what you use it for, because we'll just come up with something and it's probably not very usable. And our vision is to digitize the inspections and then keep them in a digitized format. We don't want you to print out PDF reports and then send them somewhere and then you scan them. That would ruin the whole purpose. Does anyone have questions here? Or do you have another question?
Well, I was going to say something I would add, though, it's just a trail of thought from what I was talking about previously, is that we don't need to be there on inspection. And to the point where we had an inspection last year where we carried out roof surveys of 70 buildings, and we sat at our desk. The client wanted the surveys done. It was done by the drone operators, and we sat at our desk assessing the data. And that's, I think, where the future is in terms of using technology to gather data. That's great. We don't want to be having expensive surveyors doing that if we've got an operation like drones to gather that data for us. I call it added value consulting. This is what Cushman Wakefield do, added value consulting. We sit on top of the data, analyze it, and give the best advice we can for our clients. So, questions from the audience? We've got a minute.
And 15 seconds. 1 minute, 15 seconds.
And the best question, or the only question, gets one of FairFleet's ducks. Yay!
Great presentation, guys. To you, Alex.
Which Alex?
Well, you're Alexander on the board. Look.
Correct.
So, how often do you find that you've received an inspection report, but then you need to actually go and physically look at it? Does that ever happen?
That's a good question. Yeah.
We, apart from the roof example, that's a brilliant question, by the way. Apart from the roof example, we physically are on site, not necessarily at the same time. but we would inspect every building anyway. But the particular roof surveys was a client request because they wanted to cut the cost down. That's it.